Welcome to another encounter with ancient wisdom for modern life. In our last video, we explored how the universe is composed of qi. We saw that everything that exists is made of the same raw material, but with different information. Unity and information. Imagine the sun, the earth, or even the person standing next to you. We all share the same universal essence, but each of us carries a unique information. I have my individuality, and you have yours. Everything is made of the same matter, but everything vibrates with relatively different information. Today, we are going to dive into a fundamental concept to understand these differences: Yin and Yang. In ancient times, medicine, philosophy, and religion were not separate paths as they are today. There was a convergence. And it was through this deep observation of nature that the ancient masters realized that the distinction of any information in the universe occurs through opposites. Relativity, the end of absolutes. To understand Yin and Yang, we first need to accept that we live in a world of relativity. In our manifested reality, almost nothing is absolute. Aside from concepts like the universe or the divine, which encompass everything and have no outside, everything else only exists in comparison. Let's look at a simple example. Am I tall or am I short? In my own country, I have an average height. But if I travel to Norway, where the average is higher, I will be considered short. If I go to Japan, where the average is lower, I will be considered tall. Do you see? My height hasn't changed, but my information of being tall or short depends entirely on who I compare myself to. A person is only intelligent because the concept of less intelligence exists. Good is only recognized because evil exists. Yin and Yang are therefore the tools we use to measure these relationships of contrast. As we contemplate the world, we see that it is not made of static totals, but of dynamic balances. The subtle, the luminous, and the active we call Yang. The dense, the solid, and the withdrawn we call Yin. Day is Yang. Night is Yin. Heaven is Yang. Earth is Yin. Yin and Yang in the body, structure and function. Let's now bring this philosophy into health practice. In a simplistic way, but extremely effective for diagnosis in traditional Chinese medicine, we can define Yin is the structure. Yang is the function. Think of the heart. When we talk of the yin of the heart, we are talking about its anatomy, the ventricles, the atria, the valves, the muscular tissue. It is the physical piece, solid and dense. If a patient has an imbalance in the heart's yin, the structure is affected. On the other hand, the yang of the heart is its function, the heartbeat, the capacity to contract and relax, the force that pumps blood throughout the body. It is the movement, the heat, the subtle and active aspect. If the problem is in the yang, the structure may be intact, but the behavior of the organ is unbalanced. Perhaps it beats too fast or irregularly. This reasoning applies to everything. Take the example of a joint like the elbow. A yin imbalance in the elbow means that the structure, the bones or the joint itself is damaged. A yang imbalance means that the function is limited. The arm doesn't bend well. It lacks mobility, even though the bone might be perfectly fine. As therapists, this distinction allows us to have a specific focus. We know exactly what we are treating and how to measure the success of our treatment. Interdependence and balance. It is important to emphasize that yin and yang are never isolated. They are intrinsic. A problem in the structure, yin, will inevitably end up affecting the function, yang, and an unbalanced function will eventually wear down the structure. To work on one is invariably to help the other. They depend on each other for life to happen. And as the ancient texts say so poetically, what differentiates a stone from a plant? The plant has a nuance of interaction between yin and yang that allows for growth and transformation. Conclusion. Life is the result of the moment when the energy of the heavens penetrates the earth to give it movement. This is the dance of yin and yang in our lives.